Fast Track Money session, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And as usual, I'm Yasi, the creator behind Fast Track. So we have a podcast. Just search Fast Track Podcast on Spotify, or you can search fasttrack.life. There you can read a lot of content, articles, listen to podcasts about entrepreneurship, money, or career. And then together with me is my co-host, Matthias Richter. He is financial imagineer, so you can find financialimagineer.com. There he talks about mostly personal finance, money, and investment. And we have this channel. It's called Fast Track Money. This playlist where we are going to talk about different topics on the investment side, on the saving side, on the earning side, to give you more insights and knowledge, helping you transform your relationship with money. And we are also the co-host. Let's say we are the money coach for Fast Track Money course, which you can find all the descriptions in the link down below. And today we are going to talk about ownership versus subscription model. Maybe Matthias, you can start to tell the audience, what do we mean by ownership versus subscription?
Yes, I mean, it's an interesting thing that just seems to be more and more popular over the past few years, that whatever you are looking for, before you only had one choice in most cases. You can buy something and then it's yours until you sell it again or it's broken, right? But recently, more and more things are actually available on subscription. So you can buy something on a monthly subscription or on a weekly or annual subscription. And the problem is with that, of course, you are hooked and maybe you overpay, but maybe you get better updates and other things. So there's pros and cons. It's just a new world. It's also an idea to probably do some kind of sharing economy with subscriptions, because you don't have to own exactly something the whole time when you just use it once in a while. But then with a subscription, you may be tied into some kind of contractual obligation to keep paying someone else on a regular basis. So you see, it's a very interesting field, and we will go into some more details during this session to showcase you how it affects you probably already now. What are the downsides, the upsides as a user, but also as an investor? Because I think we should look at both sides of the story. If you look at the world, also you can participate from both sides, right?
Yeah. And meanwhile, for the audience, if you have any subscriptions, it can be a service, it can be anything that you would like to share with us, please leave in the comment. Tell us what kind of subscription service you have, why you do like to, stick to it, and compare to buying. Why do you choose subscription? Or you don't choose subscription model, you choose to buy. For example, we can say a car, you can choose to lease a car, or you can choose to buy a car, or you can choose to rent apartments, you can choose to buy apartment. These are all falling down into this subscription versus ownership. But the typical example that everybody can think about right now is Netflix. Let's talk about Netflix.
Yeah. Okay, well, Netflix is a very big topic. It covers. It's actually a perfect example for this. I would say something like Netflix may have been kicked off by Blockbuster before, or something like where you could rent videos before, and you had to become a member, and then you got cheaper rates. And it's Netflix is now a mix between the old Blockbuster model and the all-you-can-eat buffet-style restaurant. Because once you pay, you can consume as much as you want. They don't care, right? So for the consumer, it has significant upsides from a point of view like how much you want to consume. But of course, if you do not consume, you may overpay. And on the other side, Netflix is a second good example for the ecosystem kind of example that I want to make today with a few examples. So the ecosystem in Netflix is simply, once you subscribe into that, you get a lot of content that otherwise maybe you will not get it. So it's exclusive. And the other thing is you have all these things available at your fingertips at any time. You can choose when and where to watch. You can watch it from your cell phone, from your laptop. It doesn't matter where you are. You have paid for it, right? And of course, maybe at one point in time you think, oh, I don't want to watch that much TV, and you will feel bad because on your credit card every month something will be deducted. And if you don't go and watch or binge even a show every once in a while, you may feel like you're doing something wrong here. So that's
you might feel like you are missing out. Like that you already paid for it, but you don't use it. Yeah.
So, and that could be a downside as well, because you will consume just because you pay, but at the end you may forget why you pay in the first place. So you're really hooked into some kind of ongoing consumption model, which is one of the downsides. Again, for the investor, of course, it's brilliant because it is very sticky. I mean, we have 2 TV sets at home, and the TV remote control actually got a Netflix button on it. So it would be like it's such a brand name already for TVs that if you have a TV without a Netflix button, it feels a little odd, or people will look, where is the Netflix button? And if you have a TV with such a button, why don't you have a subscription, right? So it's a little bit like a chicken and egg thing, but Netflix is a very dominant example. Yes.
Can you elaborate more that when you say for investors, it's very interesting because it gets sticky. You mean it's good for the investor who invested in Netflix stocks that is sticky for the consumers. Therefore, the investors benefit from the appreciation of the stock price.
Exactly. It's simply an example, maybe from business school. I have the Porter 5 forces model, which is you look at 5 different forces of competition, and one of the forces is new entry to the market, which you can actually translate for Netflix is the entry barrier. Where is the entry barrier? If you now decide, I want to do something like Netflix, oh my gosh, how can you ever compete with them? You have to disrupt them in some incredible way, right? Because you cannot actually Disney is trying to get there. Disney is catching up with Disney Plus, but they have by no means the reach and the content and all the things like Netflix has. But so it's incredible. The bigger it gets, the harder it will become to get into this market, and the more secure it will be for Netflix to keep this market alive, unless there is something else completely unforeseeable that will happen and disrupt the whole thing. So Netflix has a very high market barrier for competition to enter, and that makes it strong for an investment case.
And for individual investors, would it be interesting that, for example, if I'm a Netflix subscriber, and would it be also interesting that I buy Netflix stocks? Because since I'm using it anyway, then maybe I can also benefit from the dividends.
Netflix by now does not have a dividend yet. It's still a business that just recently started to have profits. As they have reinvested all their cash flow, and they have taken up much more debt because they wanted to outrun potential competition. But there could be an example. I switch now the gears a little bit. I go away from Netflix. I talk about Starbucks, for instance. Of course, Starbucks you cannot subscribe to, but Starbucks pays you dividends, right? And then the idea is if you buy Starbucks shares, you once in a while get dividends, and then these dividends can be used to buy Starbucks coffee. So therefore, your coffee is for free, or you're actually shopping at your own shop. Now, as for Netflix, it doesn't pay you any dividends yet. Maybe that will happen in the future if the cash flow is still strong in a few years. But for now, they're still building the user base, building up the business. So for now, it's a growth stock. And therefore, you should only buy it if you expect their business to grow even further, right? And Netflix has actually done quite well over the years, but it is a high-risk stock. It's volatile. And this show is by no means here to give you investment advice. So please consult with whoever is in charge to help you on Netflix or other stocks. It's just an example here today.
Yeah. On the other hand, can you give us some examples that to buy something or to own something instead of subscription model?
Okay. Well, one very, very simple thing. This is an iPhone. Apple, very, very strong ecosystem, and Samsung has the same thing. Actually, all kind of newer cell phones have these kind of things. Now you wonder what might it be? Yes, I will maybe buy another iPhone once it's broken. No, it's not even that. If you start to make pictures on your iPhones, it will need more and more space. If you download some things, you want to keep it, right? People are hunter and gatherers. We want to keep stuff. And once you have it saved, you have like very, very precious family pictures on your phone, and you want to have a backup, right? So the backup is in the iCloud, or it's somewhere in a cloud. And there, the iCloud, you get the iCloud for a little price in the beginning, but then you get used to it that your phone is actually backing itself up. So when you lose your phone or it crashes, you can simply go to the shop, buy a new iPhone, and download everything back, and you have lost nothing. However, the bigger your memory gets there, the more expensive your monthly bill gets, because you're on a subscription for iCloud services, which gives you convenience, but also it will make it very hard. Let's say 2 years later, your iPhone breaks, you want to buy a Samsung instead. You will think a lot about why you should buy a Samsung if you are not sure how you get your iCloud things down on your Samsung. It creates another barrier. You see, it's again the same topic: barrier, market entry barrier, or shifting barrier. People will get sticky with your solution, and therefore it's a great investment, because you will, as a user, if you use this kind of services, you will stick to Apple with a very high likelihood. And there,
Also,
Apple, of course, you can also buy the stock. They have dividends. They buy a lot of shares back, but that could be an example, right?
also, from these two examples you mentioned, I think it would be interesting as individual investor to look at companies like stocks that they create this either an ecosystem or subscription model and get people stick to it, and it's very hard to get out. I like the example from Apple because they do have this network effect. So once you have hardware, then you need the software, and then you need other things. Maybe I have an iWatch, now I have an Android phone, so I couldn't use my watch. So they create this whole ecosystem with hardwares and softwares and get people
Mhm.
into it, and it's very difficult to get out of this ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
If you have your phone, and then you have iCloud, maybe the next watch you buy, if it's a digital watch, naturally you will buy an iWatch, right?
Yes, because if you buy something else, you will be doing something against your existing ecosystem, and it will not
Yes.
be convenient, right?
Yes, yes, correct. Some other examples. I think right now we have seen two examples are very dominant. That subscription model business is very promising to make the consumers. It's very sticky, making consumers stick around for a long time to use their services. Do you have any other examples of companies that provide
Yes,
this ownership model?
sure. There's plenty of them, and people maybe don't even realize it somehow. It's like Microsoft. Take Microsoft. A few years ago, when I was a student, you can still buy a Microsoft Office for students, right? There was a price, like I don't remember, $99. You get Microsoft Office for students, and guess what? People use this thing for 10 years because they don't need upgrades. Excel, Word, PowerPoint. What is there to upgrade, right? It's perfect the way it is. But Microsoft Office, of course, nowadays, it's very hard to buy the copy for yourself. You actually, most people start to pay them every month or every year. It's another subscription model. And of course, it has some upsides. You get always the latest version. You have autocorrect. You have some spelling things that they look at. They make it possible that it's compatible with other software updates, right? So you actually get into this model without really thinking too much. And then once you have it will get so hard to quit, because once you have a database of created things that you actually use this main software to open and do it, right? It's impossible to let go of it. It's a trap for life in a bad sense, right? But for the investor, it's a great thing, because before they had to have new names like Windows 95, Windows Windows 2000, and Office X, the latest versions always. And people, they try to delay to upgrade when you have to buy a software package for $500 or something. You are not so eager to buy that unless you really have to, right? Another thing is, of course, virus protection, which is a beautiful other example. If you don't have virus protection on your computer, some idiot programs a virus, and then you put everything at risk, right? And the virus protection needs to be updated because viruses are advancing, not just the coronavirus, also the virtual viruses. They are stepping forward. And with the virus example, I could make a shift back to real viruses, right? Vaccinations could be another thing, but that's a little bit in the starting point at the moment. I'm looking at that with a big interest also, because it could be like if you don't upgrade your antivirus vaccine in a way, then you could be outdated at one point, right? So that could be a very very difficult situation in a way. But the thing is, all these things, they hook you in a way, and you get part of this system, which has advantages and disadvantages. And you can look at another point to look at it is maybe sharing economy. Like if you mentioned before cars, do I really need a car? And maybe I drive it half an hour a day, and 23 and a half hours a day it's standing around. Then why not subscribe to some service? Because you don't need a car. What you need is mobility, right? Then you can differentiate why you actually buy this. You need a solution. For Microsoft, you have Google Sheets, Google Docs, right? There is alternative solutions in some things that you can actually switch. Spotify, another great example. Spotify, it's very, very seamless. I'm using it too. I love it because it gives you almost all the music that has ever been produced at your fingertips, right? So that's another ecosystem thing. And there are all these things. But after a while, what I think from the consumer perspective will be very tough. You get hooked here, you get hooked there, and people may lose control on how they spend money, because all these things are automated and recurring, and you have to know when to quit where, and you have to, it's like a gym membership, and they never want you to quit, right?
Let's talk about at the consumer level. That will be very interesting, because before I watch a lot of CNBC Make It videos interviewing millennials, how they spend money. And I am very surprised to see almost everyone has hundreds of US dollars spent on subscriptions every single month. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
So one thing is, it's easy to put it on autopilot, right? And if you are putting something on autopilot, I go now back a little bit. One thing that is very worth it is health insurance. We all need health insurance, and health insurance is another version of subscription. In some countries, retirement planning is another version of subscription. If you don't pay every month, you're out, right? If you don't pay your health insurance, something happens, you're out. So there are some things you should not negotiate too much about, whether to pay or not. But if something happens, you have to know why you pay it, right? Why do you pay health insurance? You could have an accident. So you could be in the hospital tomorrow. Then it's good to have it, right? But you don't plan for that. If you're on a subscription for Spotify and you listen to music once in a while, then maybe, yes, you have to think for yourself, is it worth it? And now what you can do as a consumer, what I like to do is put it all on one credit card. Usually you need credit cards. Another thing there to mention quickly, credit cards are a transition from cash, from real money to virtual money. So with one degree of abstraction, the money becomes less visible for people. So therefore, they don't care so much about it. If you would put like $500 into your wallet and it's gone, you will feel, oh my God, I wasted $500. But if it's on your credit card and you never look at it and the payment is automated, like in many, many cases, it doesn't bother you after a while. You get used to that. So what to do there? You can actually very, very consciously take your credit card bill in front of you every 3 months, every 6 months, whenever you want to review. And then you go through item by item. What is this? Why am I on this subscription? Why do I pay that? And you go through until you find something where you think, no, I don't need that anymore, or I can optimize that. I get a better solution for this. The other thing is always ask yourself why you pay that. What is the purpose to pay that? You wouldn't say, oh, because it's Netflix. No, it's because I want to watch movies. My kids want to watch a series every once in a while, or I want to listen to music. But if you say, oh, this is just so good, I need to have it because everyone has it, then no, right?
Or it's like, I might need it. I might need to use. I probably will use it frequently. That's one of the psychological thing. I saw the comment from our audience.
Hi is writing. I avoid nearly all subscription traps. That's very good. Hi.
I'm very interested in what subscriptions that you have now, because you said nearly. So what are the ones that you decided to keep and why? And then Rainmaker, previously he commented when we talk about Netflix that
Couch potatoes.
when you have Netflix subscription, you feel like, oh, I already paid for it. I need to watch more. So become the couch.
Yes. Yeah, well, that's the interesting thing, right? So what subscriptions do I have? I have a mobile phone subscription, which is another subscription. You can change your provider, but you can go cheaper and higher. You need an internet subscription if you want to have internet at home. That's also an all-you-can-eat offering, right? All these things. Okay, cool. Hi, I got free Netflix because I upgraded my internet, so I actually only pay for internet. Awesome. Very nice.
Talking about Netflix, we have a little hack, Netflix family plan.
Oh, yeah. Well, Netflix family plan is slightly more expensive than one account. You get 4 accounts and you can share, right? Then it's still in the legal boundaries and you can actually have 4 people accessing different content. They have their own watch list, preferences. When they click like, different suggestions. Our Netflix family plan also has a part for kids, right? So kids programs only and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Like earlier on, we talk about Netflix, we talk about Apple, we talk about Uber, share economy. I think I'm seeing a theme here. Even when you talk about the Windows,
Yes.
you have to upgrade and you have to pay for the upgrade. I'm seeing the overarching theme is the repetition of purchase and consumption. And I
Yes.
think when a business can make consumers consume more frequently and maybe also over time consume more expensive services to upgrade them, then they will constantly have this cash flow. And on the other hand, like a traditional business, if they sell something one time and then people don't need to come back again, maybe the profit margin, I don't know about profit margin, maybe cash flow is not so good. Can you think about some examples of this kind of business model that
Yes, of
people
course. I
buy
mean,
one time that don't need to
one
come
thing,
back again?
one thing is very simple. If you are a frequent flyer, now very hard the last 2 years, but if you're flying more, you will get a gold card or some brilliant card, and then with the card you get special things. If you come back, you get access to the lounge. You get upgrades every once in a while, and you get more miles. And with the miles, you can get another flight again. So it's like self-enhancing. And another example is, for instance, coffee capsules, right? You give a coffee machine away for very cheap, or like you sell a coffee machine for $69 and you give $90 for free coffee capsules. That's it, right? You hook the guys and then you bring the people into your system. And later, because the coffee machine was more or less for free, the people will have to buy maybe 5 to 10 years of your coffee capsules, right? So another thing could be like printers, but that's not subscription so much. But there's all these things, right? System-based, ecosystem-based consumption that is very, very sticky. And usually the trick there is to give a very, very low fee giveaway, a goodie that doesn't cost as much, to get the people first into it, get used to, get into your system. And once they're used to it, what you just said is very right. They start to upgrade step by step by step. And as they upgrade, of course, there's more money for the company. And the longer they are in there, the less interested people usually become. Usually, right? That's not everyone. Usually become to explore alternatives because it will get more painful. You may have to relearn everything, right? And you are more hooked. And so that's maybe convenient on one side, but it's also very convenient for the business owner or the shareholder. If you own that and people are hooked like that, it sounds almost very bad, right? But this is how the economy is working these days.
So this is like a good example for business who is making good money. Earlier on, I was talking about, can you think about other examples like business using this ownership model and might not have a good business? I think about like a mattress. You sell people one mattress, they might use it for 10 years. Then this business does not have this subscription model.
Well, for one-offs, there's another thing which, well, one-offs is more like Ikea or Costco. I know they have some tricks also to get people into the store. there is usually the style and the vibe around it. So marketing is done differently. You are the marketing specialist, Yasi, right? So marketing there, very interesting is Costco. I think they have chicken at the end of their store, but the chicken part, usually chicken costs $1.50 or something. And I read that they have never raised their price ever. So people go to Costco because they want to have the cheap chicken. And then they go into the shop. The first thing they see is a very expensive TV. They usually put very expensive stuff at the beginning of the shop. So you see a $5,000 TV. You see like a lawnmower for $3,000. And then you think, oh, this is expensive. Oh, this is expensive. And then later you walk into the food section and you see the rest. And then you suddenly think, compared to that TV, everything is cheap. And you are hooked on the way back to your chicken. You have to walk through the whole shop, right? Ikea also, you walk through the whole shop. You see first the nice examples, how your room can be, and then you buy left, right. How many of you have been to an Ikea for eventually wanting to buy something for 10 or 20 bucks and ended up spending 200? Honest, right? It happened to me.
I cannot stop laughing because the one time I went to IKEA 3 times in a week when I just moved. I needed some new furniture 3 times in 1 week. And at the end, I feel IKEA is a money and time sucking machine.
So they are on a one-off level, but they do it well. And now, of course, you have the question, what is not doing well? I mean, there could be all the leftover shops, right? I think there's a new economy coming with this whole influencer vibe and with the subscription models, and people have to choose their tribe. You're either here or there. Hi, thank you. You mentioned Swisscom, and most companies are actually, renting computer than buying them. Yes, because probably they get some service contract in there as well, right? And then you get to cover it all, and then you can actually expense it, forget about it, and put it aside, right?
Yeah.
So it's convenience against paying.
I think to summarize what we talk about today, that earlier we mentioned about from the investor's point of view, if you evaluate the companies and stocks to invest, look at the business model. Is the business model based on subscription? Is the product or services sticky? Will consumers keep coming back to consume more frequently, or they consume more expensive, keep upgrading? And then think about if they get repeated purchase from consumers and it's a sticky, or even better, creating an ecosystem where each of your products complement each other, and then the consumers will be literally trapped within your ecosystem. It doesn't mean they don't get value from it, but it's a good business model. And on the other hand, we also talk about like mattress things that people buy one off, might not need to come back. So as an investor, I think it's very interesting to look at the business overall. And I like the example you talk about. Even if you invest in this company, they pay dividends, and as a consumer, and you use the dividend money to buy yourself a cup of Starbucks coffee, and it's free. So it's, you can play 2 roles. But if you don't invest, basically as a consumer, then company wins, you don't win from anything. You pay for the services.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, companies are evolving. They also have to sustain in this new competitive area. So they keep finding new ways how to make it more sticky. And all this will continue. It's just going to get more intense, I feel. And beware of what's going on, right? I mean, that's the main message of this video should be, you should know what is going on around you, and how, on one side, how to profit from it, how to invest. That's one message I wanna pass today. Also, like be aware as an investor, if a company gets recurring steady pay, it's a cash cow. It's good for you as an investor, but it's bad for you maybe as a consumer. And then look at their profit margins, right? And if the profit margins are very, very high, it means maybe some competition will try to come and roll up the field. Review your credit card bills regularly, not every time, but you know, once in a while, look and question yourself. What I mentioned it, why you are subscribed, what do you need there, what is the service, not really the brand or what the life vibe or whatever. Why are you part of that? and try not to fall into subscription traps. The worst kind of is, oh, you can only cancel. I mean, in certain senses, it makes sense if you get a new cell phone with a plan, and after all the math, it still makes sense, right? But then after 2 years, you have to remember at which day you have to actually get out of the contract. Otherwise, you're hooked for another 2 years or something. Beware of these things. This is how companies try to trap people. And similar like gym memberships. And think about it also, the all-you-can-eat buffet. If you have an all-you-can-eat subscription for every day, you can never eat that much. You will die from overeating. So think about your optimal level of consumption, not your maximum level of consumption. Think about what is enough for you. And once you say this is enough for you or for me, then maybe cancel the thing that are too much, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe instead of upgrade, downgrade, keep it, but downgrade, or find a free version if it works, right? Like Hai mentioned the free Netflix. You can find free versions of certain things as well.
Correct. And if you are a consumer, and I think what Matt mentioned about, it's also one of the lessons that we teach in the Fast Track Money course. Right now we talk on very high level that don't fall into the oversubscription trap. Maybe you might think, oh, it's just 10 Swiss franc, $10, 5, 15. But if you start to use all this 15, 10, 5, every month, and you invest them smartly, and over time you will be surprised how much money there will be in the future. And all this does not change anything in your life. Basically, you cut away the subscription that you don't use, or you don't use even regularly, and then you invest them in a steady investment, long term. I'm sure that you will thank yourself in the future. And if you want to learn more about the hacks on saving, or the tips and tricks that we teach you how to earn more money and then eventually use this savings and extra earnings in the investment that to build a financial future for yourself, then you can check out our Fast Track Money course that we teach you everything in one compact course with a personal financial plan and also a one-on-one consultation with Matthias, right? And you will be part of the community that we have past students and current students, where we share a lot of information and exchange, learnings. And then every now and then we will host some regular webinar just for our students that we can talk more on different topics. So we would love to have you there and then check it out. We also have a preview lesson. If you like it, please follow it. If you're not ready, please follow our channel, give it a like, subscribe, and then we will bring you more content helping you achieve your financial dream life.
Absolutely. Is there a subscription model for Fast Track?
Good question.
It's free. Just leave your email. You are in, and it's for free.
Yeah, right now there is, but the cost is free.
Yeah, it's all for free. There's no hook there. But you can upgrade if you want. And the course is a one-off fee, and then you are in. There's no additional costs after that.
Yeah, for life. You are in for life.
For life. Yeah, that's a lot. Yep. You will be grandfathered for future price rises.
Okay. Guys, thank you so much for being here with us. We are so grateful that, for your comments, your interactions. It's very happy to see Rainmakers here. Hi, Nakamoto here. I'm sure there was some other audience that you are watching this replay, or you can watch it on YouTube, or Facebook, Financial Imagineer Facebook, and Twitter account, Financial Imagineer, and my personal Twitter account. So give a like, and hope to see you guys again next week.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Goodbye.